It was just another morning for most people on Earth. Kids got ready for school, workers sipped coffee, planes took off, trains rolled through cities. The world moved like it always did, until something impossible happened. Above the sky, 5 massive alien ships appeared out of nowhere. One moment the sky was clear. The next, there they were, huge, strange, and terrifying. They didn't come with fire or explosions. They didn't crash or scream through the atmosphere. They simply arrived. Each ship looked different. One shimmered like it was made of liquid metal. Another had lights that blinked in strange patterns, almost like it was thinking. A third looked broken, but still huge and dangerous. 2 more followed behind them, silent and powerful. People all over the world stopped what they were doing and stared up at the sky. Phones came out, cameras started recording. Some screamed, others laughed, thinking it was a joke. But deep down, everyone knew it wasn't. The governments tried to say it was nothing. For a few hours they denied everything. But denial doesn't work when you can see aliens above your head with your own eyes. Then came the message. A voice, not quite human, not quite machine, spoke directly into every language on Earth. It wasn't on TV or radio. It was everywhere. In homes, in cars, even in people's minds. We are the Watchers of Virex, the Keepers of Order, the Flame of Zilari, the Silent Hand, and the Children of the Void. We come in peace. We offer protection. Do not resist. The message repeated, calm and polite, but with a coldness beneath it that made everyone feel uneasy. These weren't visitors. This was an announcement. Governments scrambled. Scientists panicked. Soldiers stood ready. And somewhere deep inside a hidden base near the moon, General Mara Solano sat in a dark room, watching the footage with a face like stone. She had seen this coming. For years, she had worked in secret with a small group of scientists, engineers, and military leaders. They called themselves the Orbital Tactical Commands, and they had one job: prepare for the day when aliens would come. And now, that day had arrived. In a top-secret facility buried under the surface of the moon's far side, the real truth about Earth's defense was kept hidden. Most of the world didn't know about it. Even most of the military didn't know about it. Only a select few had been told, and only because they needed to build it. Project Aegis. It was the biggest secret in human history. The idea had started decades ago, after the first confirmed UFO crash in 1947. Over time, more crashes were found. More tech was recovered. And slowly, piece by piece, humanity began to understand how alien weapons, engines, and shields worked. They didn't just study the technology, they improved it. By the time the 5 alien fleets arrived, Project Aegis had already built more than 50 experimental warships. Each one was faster, smarter, and deadlier than anything ever flown by humans before. But no one knew. Not the public. Not the press. Not even most of the politicians. Only those closest to the program knew the truth. Earth was ready. Back on Earth, the leaders of the world met in emergency sessions. The United Nations held an emergency global broadcast. For the first time in history, all nations were speaking as one. "We do not know their true intentions," said President Elena Reyes of the Americas, "but we will not surrender our freedom without understanding what is truly at stake." Across the world, protests broke out. Some people wanted peace. Others demanded war. Some believed the aliens were gods. Others feared they were invaders. And, while the world debated, the aliens waited. They hovered above major cities, silent, unmoving, like statues in the sky. No weapons fired, no attacks launched, just waiting. But anyone who had studied history knew that sometimes the scariest thing isn't what someone does, it's what they don't do. Waiting means planning. Watching means calculating. And silence? Silence often comes right before the storm. General Mara Solano walked into the command center like a woman with a mission. Her uniform was sharp, her eyes sharper. She had spent her life preparing for this moment. She had fought wars, led missions, lost friends. And now she stood at the edge of the greatest battle in human history, Around her, holograms flickered to life, maps, satellite feeds. Enemy fleet positions, battle simulations. Her team surrounded her. There was Commander Elias Grant, her second-in-command, and a former pilot who had flown some of the first stealth drones into enemy airspace back during the Middle Eastern conflicts. Dr. Annika Rao, the lead scientist behind the Aegis AI systems, stood nearby, adjusting her glasses and muttering numbers too fast for anyone else to follow. And then there was Captain Darius Kwan, young, brilliant, and fearless. He was one of the best pilots in the program. His ship, the Aegis 7N, was considered the most advanced fighter in the fleet. Solano turned to them. "They're testing us," she said. "They want to see if we'll panic, if we'll fight, if we'll submit." Grant crossed his arms. "So what's the plan?" Solano looked at the screen showing the alien armadas above Earth. "We show them who we really are." Kwan grinned. "You mean we go loud?" Solano gave him a look. "No," she said. "We go smart." While the world outside worried and waited, the Aegis team prepared. They had no intention of letting these aliens think Earth was weak. The Aegis ships were unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. They used hybrid engines, part alien tech, part human innovation. Their weapons could adapt mid-battle. Their AI systems could predict enemy moves faster than any living brain. And most importantly, they were invisible. Thanks to cloaking tech reverse-engineered from alien wreckage, the Aegis fleet could hide in plain sight. They could appear and disappear, like ghosts. They could strike from the shadows and vanish before retaliation. This was the secret weapon Earth had been building for decades, and now it was time to use it. As the sun set over New York City, the largest alien flagship, the one shaped like a glowing jellyfish, sent another message. "To prove your worth, demonstrate your strength, let your best fight ours, one ship each, simulated combat." It sounded fair, friendly even. But Solano saw the trap. Simulated combat? Sure. But simulations could turn real in seconds, and if Earth lost, the aliens would have proof of weakness. If Earth won, they might still attack anyway. It was a test, and tests are meant to be passed or broken. Solano gathered her team. "We accept," she said. Kwan raised an eyebrow. "Seriously?" Solano nodded. "Yes, but we play by our rules." Rao looked nervous. "You know they might cheat, right?" Solano smiled slightly. "Let them try." Because the aliens didn't know what was coming. They thought they were dealing with primitive humans. They thought Earth was unprepared. They thought they were the strongest force in the galaxy. They were wrong. Very, very wrong. Word count. WAN 200. Let me know if you'd like me to continue with part 2 in the same style. The silence didn't last long. 1 second, the alien flagship was floating above Earth like a predator watching its prey. The next, it opened fire. A beam of red-hot energy shot from its underbelly and struck the orbital station known as New Birk. The explosion lit up the sky like a second sun. Debris flew in all directions. Screams echoed across comms channels. People were dying, thousands of them, and the aliens had done it on purpose. Back at Lunar Base Theta, General Mara Solano watched the footage with cold fury in her eyes. Around her, alarms blared, lights flashed red, pilots scrambled to their ships. The entire Aegis fleet roared to life. This wasn't a test anymore. This was war. "Launch the fleet," she said, voice calm but sharp like a blade. Commander Elias Grant stood beside her. "We go full force?" She nodded. They broke the rules. First, outside the base, hidden hangars opened. Ships that had been cloaked for years dropped their invisibility fields. Dozens of sleek, deadly human warships rose into the black sky, engines roaring like thunder. Across near-Earth space, the alien fleets thought they had the advantage. They were wrong. Captain Darius Kwan's hands gripped the controls of Aegis 7, so tightly his knuckles turned white. He stared at the burning remains of New Hope, heart pounding. "That wasn't a simulation," he muttered. "That was murder." Lieutenant Mei Chen sat beside him, checking their systems. "We've got full weapons online," Shields are holding. Quan exhaled slowly. Good, because we're not playing nice anymore. He flicked a switch. All wings, this is Captain Quan. We hit hard and fast. Show these bastards what Earth's really made of. Across the comms, dozens of pilots responded in unison, voices filled with anger, with pain, with purpose. The battle began. The first wave of Aegis fighters launched from behind the moon. Using cloaking tech, they moved unseen until the very last moment. Then, like ghosts turning real, they struck. Missiles rained down on the alien formations. Fighters dove between enemy ships, slicing through hulls with plasma blades. Bombers dropped charges that exploded in silent bursts of fire. The aliens were confused at first. Their rigid command structures couldn't adapt quickly enough. Some tried to retreat. Others fired wildly, hitting each other in the chaos. Then came the retaliation. The Watchers of Virex regrouped. Their ships formed a tight defensive line, unleashing a wall of energy fire that tore through space. One Aegis fighter went down. Then another. Quan saw it happen on his screen. His friend, Ace Ramirez, flying Aegis 4, was caught in the crossfire. His ship exploded before anyone could warn him. No, May shouted. Quan clenched his jaw. Hold. Formation. We finish this. Down below on Earth, people watched the battle unfold in the sky. What had once been a peaceful morning now looked like something out of a nightmare. Flashes of light, trails of smoke, explosions lighting up the darkness. In cities, towns, and villages, people gathered outside. Some prayed, others cried. Children clung to their parents, scared and confused, but others felt something else. Pride. Hope. Because for the first time, ever, humans weren't just surviving, they were fighting back. In the United Nations Emergency Broadcast Center, President Elena Reyes stood in front of the world's cameras. Her face was pale, but her voice was strong. This is not the end, she said. This is the beginning. Our people are in the sky right now defending our home. We will not fall. We will not surrender. Cheers rose in the streets. Flags waved. Songs were sung. Earth was awake, and it was angry. Back in space, the battle raged. Aegis Prime, the massive command ship piloted by General Solano herself, cut through the battlefield like a sword through cloth. Its hybrid engines burned with stolen alien power. Its weapon system was unlike anything the galaxy had seen. Solano stood tall in the command center, directing the fight with precision. We take out the flame of Zalari first, she ordered. Their weapons are the most advanced. Grant nodded. On it, Mei Chen sent targeting data to Quan. You see that big ugly jellyfish-shaped thing? That's their main ship. If we can disable it, the rest might scatter. Quan grinned. Let's crash the party. He banked hard to the left and dove straight into the heart of the enemy fleet. Missiles streaked past him. Energy beams sliced through the void. He dodged, rolled, flipped upside down, and kept going. Then he saw it, the alien mothership, glowing with dark purple energy, firing round after round at Earth. It was beautiful. And terrifying. Quan lined up his shot. Hold on. He fired everything he had. Plasma rounds, EMP pulses, miniature black holes designed to disrupt gravity fields. The blast hit the side of the ship and caused a chain reaction. Alarms blared inside the alien vessel. Lights flickered. Systems failed. The mothership started to drift. They're losing control, May shouted. Quan smiled. Good. But the aliens weren't finished yet. From the far edge of the battlefield, 2 more alien fleets reformed. The Keepers of Order and the Silent Hand joined forces, launching a coordinated strike on Aegis Prime. Dozens of enemy fighters swarmed the command ship like bees attacking a bear. Inside the command center, alarms screamed. Shields at 60%, someone shouted. Engines taking damage, another yelled. Grant ran to Solano. We need to pull back, she shook her head. No, not now. She stepped forward and pressed a button on the console. Activate Protocol Omega. Everyone froze. Protocol Omega was the final secret weapon. A last resort move, A weapon so powerful it could turn the tide of any battle, but at great risk. May's voice trembled. Are you sure? Solano didn't hesitate. Yes. Behind Aegis Prime, 5 massive pods detached from the hull. Each one pulsed with stolen antimatter energy, technology recovered from decades of crashed alien ships. They sped toward the enemy formation. Quan saw them coming. Oh, wow, May whispered. That's insane. The pods reached the enemy fleet and detonated. The explosion wasn't loud. It was silent, bright, massive, devastating. Everything within 100 kilometers was swallowed by a sphere of pure energy. Ships vanished, fighters disappeared, light bent around the blast. When it was over, half the alien fleet was gone. Silence fell, then cheers rang out across every channel. Aces in the hole, Quan shouted. The remaining alien ships scattered. Some fled into hyperspace. Others surrendered, sending distress signals in broken English. The battle was over, and humanity had won. Not because they had better technology, not because they were lucky, because they fought together, because they refused to give up, because they proved to the galaxy that Earth was no longer a planet to be conquered, it was a power to be feared. Word count, Mum1200, let me know if you'd like. Part 4. Next, I'll get it ready right away. The silence after the explosion was eerie. For a moment, no one spoke. No one moved. Across every channel, every ship, every pilot, the same thought echoed in their minds. Did we just win? Then came the alarms again. Multiple escape signatures. Detected, Mei Chen shouted from her station on Aegis 7 known. 3 alien ships breaking formation. Quan leaned forward, eyes scanning his screen. They're running, Mei frowned. Not all of them. She pointed at a massive triangular ship still holding position near Earth's orbit. Unlike the others, it wasn't fleeing. It wasn't surrendering. It was powering up something big. Quan's stomach dropped. That's not good. Back on Aegis Prime, General Mara Solano saw the same readings. Her voice cut through the comms like steel. All units, focus fire on that Zalari flagship. That's not just any ship. That's their command core. If they activate what I think they're about to, Earth is finished. Commander Elias Grant stood beside her, staring at the holographic display. What are they planning? Solano didn't blink. A planet killer. Silence fell over the command center. Grant swallowed hard. You're kidding. I wish I was, she said. We've seen fragments of their tech before. A weapon capable of tearing apart entire worlds. They wouldn't bring it here unless they were desperate. Or unless they wanted revenge. Across the battlefield, the surviving alien commander, Commander Virex of the Zalari Armada, stood tall inside his war room. His skin was dark as obsidian, his armor gleaming with stolen power. Around him, his crew worked frantically, feeding energy into the massive cannon now glowing on the ship's underbelly. His voice was calm, but cold. Earth has humiliated us. We will not be forgotten. One of his officers stepped forward nervously. Sir, the weapon may destroy their planet entirely. There is no way to control the damage once fired. Virex turned slowly, his glowing red eyes locking onto the officer, then let them burn. He pressed the activation button. Outside, the cannon roared to life. A beam of pure destruction began charging, pulling energy from the stars themselves, and it was aimed directly at Earth. On Aegis 7, Quan watched the readings spike. They're locking onto Earth, he muttered. This isn't just a warning. Shot. They're going for total annihilation. May looked pale. Can we stop it? Quan didn't answer right away. He ran calculations in his head. The alien ship was too far for a direct attack. Missiles wouldn't reach in time, and if they tried to board, they'd be torn apart by enemy fire. There was only one option left. He opened a channel to Aegis Prime. General, I have an idea. Solano's voice came back quickly. Talk to me. Quan took a deep breath. Take Aegis 7 in close. Use our gravity disruptor to destabilize their targeting system. If I can get close enough, I might be able to scramble the beam before it fires. There was a long pause. Then Solano's voice came through, quiet but firm. "That's suicide, Captain." Quan gave a small smile. "Maybe. But someone's gotta do it." May turned to him. "Darius." He looked at her. "It's the only way." She shook her head. "No. There has to be another plan." "There isn't," he said gently. "If we don't act now, everyone down there dies. Families, kids, our home." May's hands clenched into fists. She wanted to argue, she wanted to scream, but deep down she knew he was right. Quan turned back to the comms. "Permission to engage, General." Solano was silent for a few seconds longer than usual. Then, finally she spoke. "Permission granted." Across the fleet, pilots heard the message. Some froze, others cursed. A few closed their eyes in silent prayer. Quan powered up Aegis 7's engines. The sleek fighter hummed with energy. Every system lit up. Every weapon charged. He pushed the throttle forward. The ship shot through space like a bullet. Behind him, May watched helplessly. "Stay safe, you idiot." Quan grinned. "Wouldn't dream of it." He dove straight into enemy fire. Missiles exploded around him. Energy beams sliced through the void. He dodged, rolled, flipped upside down, and kept going. The alien flagship loomed ahead, its planet killer charging brighter and brighter. Quan locked onto the targeting array. Time to crash the party. He fired everything he had: EMP pulses, gravity disruptors, plasma rounds, anything that could throw off the weapon's aim. The alien ship responded instantly, unleashing a wave of defensive fire. Quan's shields flickered, then shattered. The hull cracked. Systems failed. Smoke filled the cockpit. Still, he flew on. With one last burst of speed, Aegis 7 slammed into the heart of the alien mothership. The impact triggered a chain reaction. Inside the war room, Commander Virex barely had time to react before the whole ship began shaking violently. "What happened?" he demanded. An officer stared at the feed. "Their fighter. It crashed into our core." Virex's eyes widened. Then the explosion hit. Aegis 7 detonated inside the alien flagship, triggering a catastrophic collapse. The planet killer cannon overloaded. The entire ship tore itself apart in a blinding flash of light. The shockwave rippled across space, and Earth was saved. Back at Aegis Prime, the comms went silent. Everyone waited. Then May whispered, "Come on, Darius." Nothing. Solano closed, her eyes briefly. Then a voice crackled through the static. "This is Captain Quan. Ship's gone, but I'm still breathing." Relief washed over the fleet. Cheers broke out across every channel. They had won, but the cost was high. As the last of the alien fleets fled or surrendered, the human fleet returned to base. Ships limped home, battered and bruised. Pilots climbed out of cockpits with tired eyes and heavy hearts. Quan was pulled from the wreckage of his escape pod, burned but alive. May ran to him and didn't let go for a long time. Solano stood on the observation deck of Aegis Prime, looking down at Earth. It was still there, still spinning, still alive. Around her, the survivors gathered. Soldiers, scientists, leaders, everyday people who had watched the sky turn into a battlefield and lived to tell the tale. She stepped forward and spoke into the open comms. "This was not just a victory," she said. "It was a beginning. We showed the galaxy today that Earth is not weak. We are not afraid. We are not prey." Her voice grew stronger. "We are warriors. And we are ready. Word count 200. Let me know when you're ready for part. For the final chapter where we wrap up the story with legacy, hope, and humanity's place among the stars. The war was over, but the silence that followed wasn't peaceful. It was heavy, full of memories, of loss, of bravery, of a world forever changed. Across Earth, people stepped outside and looked up at the sky, not with fear this time, but with wonder. The alien ships were gone. Some had fled. Others had been destroyed, and for the first time in history, humans weren't just watching the stars. They were part of them. In cities and towns, flags flew high. People hugged each other in the streets. Families gathered around fires, telling stories of what they had seen. Children played pretending to be space pilots. Old men whispered about the battle like it was an old war tale passed down through generations. And somewhere above the planet, on Aegis Prime, General Mara Solano stood alone on the observation deck staring out at the stars. She didn't smile. Not yet. She had led her people into battle. She had made impossible choices. And she had won. But victory came with scars. Behind her, Commander Elias Grant walked in quietly. "You okay?" he asked. Solano didn't turn. "I will be." He joined her by the window. "We did it, you know. We really did." She nodded slowly. "Yeah. But it cost us everything." They both thought of the names they would never forget. The pilots who didn't come home. The soldiers who gave their lives. The civilians caught in the crossfire. Earth had survived, but not without pain. On the moon base, repairs were already underway. Damaged ships were being fixed. Systems rebooted, new orders prepared. The Aegis fleet was no longer a secret. It was now the heart of Earth's defense. President Elena Reyes addressed the world from the United Nations headquarters. "This war taught us something," she said. "That we are not alone, that we are not weak, and that when danger comes, we do not run. We rise." Her words echoed across every screen, every radio, every speaker on the planet. People cheered, flags waved. Hope returned. For the first time, humanity wasn't looking at the stars with fear or dreams. They were looking at them with purpose. Back on Aegis Prime. Captain Darius Kwan sat in the recovery bay, his arm in a sling and his body still recovering. From the crash, Machen sat beside him, watching him carefully. "You're lucky to be alive," she said. Kwan grinned. "Lucky? Nah, I knew exactly what I was doing." May rolled her eyes. "You idiot." He laughed softly, then looked serious. "It was worth it." She nodded. "Yeah, it was." Outside the window, Earth shined below them, blue, green, and beautiful. They had saved it. Not just once, but again and again. Weeks turned into months. The galaxy had taken notice. Other alien civilizations sent messages, not threats, but questions. Who are these humans? How did they fight back so well? Are they enemies or allies? Some stayed away, too afraid of what had happened. Others reached out, offering trade, knowledge, even friendship. The United Earth Space Corps was formed. Its mission: protect Earth, explore the stars, and learn from others. General Solano stepped down from active command. She became the first human ambassador to the stars, traveling to distant worlds, making peace where there could have been war. Captain Kwan returned, to flight training new recruits, teaching them how to fly, fight, and survive in deep space. And Mei Chen became the lead scientist behind Project Horizon, an effort to build the first human colony beyond Mars. Humanity wasn't just surviving anymore. They were growing. 1 year after the battle, Earth held its first interstellar celebration. In orbit above the planet, a massive memorial was built, a floating monument shaped like a starfighter, surrounded by statues of fallen heroes. At the center was one statue taller than the rest. Aegis 7. And, beneath it, engraved in glowing letters, Captain Darius Kwan. He gave everything to save us all. At the ceremony, Kwan stood beside May, watching as thousands of people gathered below. Ships hovered overhead. Music played. Speeches were given. Solano took the stage. She looked out at the crowd, at the faces filled with hope and pride. Then she spoke. "We used to look at the stars and wonder if we were alone. Now we know the truth. We are not alone. And we never were." She paused. "But today we stand taller than ever before. Not because we are stronger, not because we are smarter, But because we chose to fight, for our home, for each other, and for the future. She raised her glass. To Earth, to the stars, and to the courage that made us more than just survivors. Everyone raised their glasses. To Earth. Cheers rang out across the sky. As night fell, Quan and May stood together watching the stars. They're still out there, May said. Quan smiled. Let them come. She looked at him. You say that like you want another war. He shook his head. No, I'm saying, next time they'll know who we are, she smiled. Yeah, they'll know. Above them, Earth spun peacefully in the darkness. And somewhere in the vastness of space, new adventures waited. New dangers, new friends, and a whole universe ready to meet the humans who had proven they were here to stay. Word count, 1-200, let me know if you'd like this full story compiled into a complete book or formatted for publishing. I'd be happy to help. The message had been clear. 1 ship each, simulated combat. It sounded like a game, a test, a chance to prove strength without real bloodshed. But General Mara Solano knew better. This wasn't just about showing off weapons or flying skills. This was about power, control, fear. She stood in the command center on Lunar Base Theta, staring at the holographic display that showed Earth hanging in space like a blue marble. Around her, the hum of machines filled the room. Lights blinked. Maps changed. Numbers scrolled. The alien fleets were still above Earth, silent, unmoving, waiting, watching. Behind her, Captain Darius Quan leaned against the wall with his arms crossed, a smirk playing on his face. So what do you think? Are they really going to play fair? Solano didn't turn. They're not here to play. Dr. Annika Rao adjusted her glasses and tapped a few keys on her console. If this is a simulation, it'll be controlled by their systems. That means they can cheat however they want. Speeds, weapons, even gravity could be altered in their favor. Commander Elias Grant folded his arms. Then why accept it all? Solano finally turned to face them. Her voice was calm but firm. Because if we say no, they win without lifting a finger. They show up, flex their ships, and Earth folds before a single shot is fired. We don't give them that. Quan grinned. I like where you're going with this. Solano gave him a small smile. We fight, but we fight smart. Back on Earth, the world watched and waited. News channels looped footage of the alien ships. Social media exploded with theories, memes, and fear. Some people thought this was the beginning of war. Others believed it was first contact with friendly aliens. A few even celebrated waving flags and holding signs saying, "Welcome to Earth." But behind closed doors, governments prepared for the worst. Emergency drills ran nonstop. Families stocked food and water. Soldiers stood ready, and in orbit, hidden from sight, the Aegis fleet waited. Each pilot was chosen carefully. Each crew trained endlessly. And at the heart of it all was one ship, Aegis 7-1, piloted by Quan himself. It wasn't the biggest ship in the fleet. It wasn't the strongest, but it was the fastest, the smartest, designed to learn mid-fight, adapt to enemy tactics, and strike where the enemy least expected. In short, it was built to win. The day of the simulation arrived faster than anyone expected. From inside the alien flagship shaped like a glowing jellyfish, the signal came through. Begin simulation. First match in 10 minutes. Across the globe, millions watched as 5 massive screens appeared in the sky. Holograms broadcast. Live from the alien ships. Each screen would show a different battle. 5 matches. 1 winner per round. The rules were simple. No real weapons. No targeting life support systems. Winner is the last ship standing. At least, that's what the aliens said. On board Aegis 7. Quan sat in the cockpit adjusting his flight gloves. His heartbeat was steady. He wasn't scared. He was excited. You good? Asked his co-pilot, Lieutenant Mei Chen. Quan smiled. Born ready. Down below, in the command center, Solano monitored everything. She had full control over the battlefield, but she wouldn't interfere unless something went wrong. "Let them fight," she told Grant. "Let them prove themselves." He nodded. "Just hope these aliens stick to the rules." "They won't," she replied. The first match began. Quan's opponent was the Watchers of Virex, a sleek black ship with glowing red eyes that pulsed like a heartbeat. It moved with eerie grace, circling Aegis 7 like a predator sizing up its prey. The match started. The alien ship darted forward, firing bursts of simulated energy. Quan rolled hard to the left, dodging every shot. "Too easy," he muttered. "May check the sensors. Their AI is fast, but it's predictable. They use the same attack pattern every time." Quan grinned. "Then let's teach them something new." He pulled back on the controls, sending Aegis 7 out into a steep climb. Then, suddenly, he reversed direction, flipping the ship upside down and diving straight toward the alien craft. Before the enemy could react, Aegis 7D fired a pulse from its side cannons. The hit registered instantly. Simulation status: enemy, ship disabled. The crowd watching across Earth erupted into cheers. Match 1. Human victory. The next 3 matches followed quickly. Each time, a different alien fleet sent in their best pilot. Each time, the human pilot outsmarted them. One used swarm drones only to have them hacked and turned against their own ship. Another tried brute force, only to be outmaneuvered and trapped in a gravitational snare. By the 4th match, the aliens were getting angry. Their movements became more aggressive, their attacks sharper. But the humans didn't falter. Every pilot in the Aegis fleet had trained for this. They worked together, shared data, adapted strategies mid-battle, and the aliens weren't used to that. Their ships were powerful, their tech was advanced, but they fought alone. Humans fought together. Then came the 5th match. This time, the enemy was the Flame of Zalari, a massive ship covered in shifting armor plates that changed color and shape mid-flight. It was the most dangerous one yet. Its pilot was silent. No taunts, no moves meant to scare, just cold, calculated aggression. As soon as the match began, the Zalari ship opened fire, not with normal weapons, but with EMP bursts designed to disable targeting systems. For a moment, Aegis 7E's screens flickered. "Systems are glitching," May shouted. Quan gritted his teeth. "Hold on." He switched to manual control and dove straight into the enemy's shadow. Without radar, he relied purely on instinct and training. He fired once, twice. The alien ship twisted away, barely avoiding destruction. Then, unexpectedly, it broke formation and flew straight toward Earth's orbital station, a civilian hub, packed with diplomats, scientists, and refugees. "What the hell?" May yelled. Quan looked at the readouts. "They're not simulating anymore. That was live fire." Solano's voice crackled over comms. "Confirming real damage. Casualties. Reported." Silence fell over the command center. They had broken the rules. The challenge was over. Now it was war. The world exploded into chaos. Reports came in of explosions near the station, of dead civilians, of panic spreading among the population. The aliens had made their move, and now humanity would make theirs. In the command center, Solano stood tall, her face unreadable. "Signal the fleet," she said. "Full mobilization. We go loud." Grant stepped beside her. "You sure?" She nodded. "They wanted to see how strong we are, now they'll find out." Across the moon base, alarms blared, ships powered up. Pilots scrambled into cockpits. For decades, Earth had hidden its strength. Now it was time to reveal it. To show the galaxy that humans were not weak, not helpless, not afraid. They were warriors, and they were ready. Word count. 1 and 200. Let me know if you'd like, Mom. Part 3 crown next, and I'll get it ready right away.